This is the story of my first day in London. It was a day full of excitement, new experiences, and special memories I had always dreamed of visiting London. Finally, that came true. My flight arrived in the morning. When I looked out of the airplane window, I saw the cloudy London sky. I felt a mix of emotions. I was happy, nervous, and curious. It was my first time in the United Kingdom. Everything looked different. Everything felt new. At the airport, I picked up my suitcase and walked toward the taxi area. I was a little tired after the long flight, but my heart was full of energy. I wanted to explore to see everything I got into a black London taxi. The driver smiled and asked, "First time in London." I smiled back and said, "Yes." He gave me a few suggestions for places to visit. He said, "Don't worry, London is a great city. You'll have fun." During the taxi ride, I looked out the window. I saw red buses, small shops, and people walking with umbrellas. I listened to the driver's British accent. It was different from the English I usually hear, but I could understand him. That made me feel proud. I was using English in real life. Soon we arrived at the hotel. It was a tall building near the river. There were flowers near the entrance, and the windows were big and shiny. I walked inside. The lobby was quiet and clean. It smelled like fresh flowers. I took a deep breath. I felt calm. At the front desk, the receptionist smiled and said, "Hello, welcome. Do you have a reservation?" I said yes and gave her my name. She typed it into the computer and then handed me a small card. "Here is your key card," she said. "Your room is number 207. Have a lovely stay." I thanked her and walked to the elevator. My suitcase rolled quietly behind me. I pressed the button for the second floor. The elevator made a soft sound and opened. I stepped out and looked around. The hallway was long and empty. The carpet was soft and the lights were warm. Everything felt peaceful. I found my room number 207. I used the keycard to unlock the door. The green light blinked and I pushed the door open. I smiled when I saw the room. It was simple, clean, and comfortable. There was a big bed with white pillows, a desk by the window, and a small table with two chairs. The window had a view of the river. I stood there for a minute and looked outside. The city looked alive. I felt lucky to be there. I unpacked my things slowly. I placed my clothes in the closet and my toothbrush in the bathroom. Then I took a shower. The warm water made me feel fresh again. After that, I made some tea and sat by the window. I watched the city lights and listened to the sounds outside. Cars, footsteps, soft music from the street. It was like the city was singing a welcome song to me. Later that evening, I decided to go for a walk. The air was cool and the sky was gray, but I didn't mind. I saw Big Ben from far away. I also saw the London Eye with its bright lights. People around me were talking, laughing, and enjoying the night. I felt like I was part of the city. I sat on a bench near the river and ate a small sandwich. I looked at the water and thought about my journey. I was far from home, but I didn't feel alone. I felt brave. I felt strong. I was proud of myself. After a while, I walked back to the hotel. My feet were tired and my eyes felt heavy, but inside I was smiling. My first day in London was almost over, and it was more beautiful than I had imagined. I got into the elevator again, ready to return to room 207. I had no idea that something funny and unexpected was about to happen. But that part of the story will come next. After a long day of walking around London, I felt very tired. My feet were sore and my eyes felt heavy. I had seen so many wonderful places. The lights, the people, the buildings, it was all amazing. But now I just wanted to go back to my hotel room and rest. I walked into the hotel and smiled at the person at the front desk. They smiled back. I didn't stop to talk. I was too sleepy. I took the elevator and pressed the button for the second floor. I remembered my room number 207. When the elevator doors opened, I slowly walked down the hallway, dragging my feet. The hallway was quiet. Everything looked the same as before. I stopped in front of room 207. I took out my keycard and swiped it. The green light appeared, and the door clicked open. I pushed the door and walked into the room. The lights were off, but the window showed the city lights outside. I felt a little confused at first. Something seemed different. Then I saw a suitcase next to the bed. It was not my suitcase. My suitcase was red. This one was black. I looked around more carefully. There were clothes on the chair. I didn't remember putting any clothes there. I saw shoes by the door, but they were not my shoes. My heart began to beat faster. Did someone come into my room? I looked again at my key card. It said 207. I felt sure I was in the right place, but something was not right. I took one step back. I was about to leave the room when I heard a sound. The bathroom door opened. I froze. A man walked out. He had a towel around his waist and water in his hair. He looked at me. I looked at him. We both were very surprised. "Who are you?" he asked. "What are you doing in my room?" I couldn't speak at first. My face became hot. I felt embarrassed. I opened my mouth, but my voice was shaking. I think I'm in the wrong room," I said softly. He looked at me, confused. "This is room 207, he said. "Yes," I answered, holding up my keycard. "Look, it says 207. He walked closer and showed me his keycard, too. It also said 207. For a moment, we were both confused. Then he pointed to the top of the card. "Third floor," he said. I looked at my card again. He was right. My room was on the third floor. I had come to the second floor by mistake. My eyes went wide. My mouth opened. I felt so silly. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," I said quickly. "I went to the wrong floor." The man laughed. He was not angry. "It's okay," he said. "Just double check next time." I nodded many times. "Yes, yes, I will. I'm really sorry." I turned around and left the room as fast as I could. My face was red, and I felt so embarrassed. I kept saying sorry in my head. I couldn't believe what just happened. I had walked into a stranger's room. When I got into the elevator, I looked at the button. I had really pressed the wrong one. I laughed a little, even though I still felt embarrassed. This was a mistake I would not forget. When I reached the third floor, I found room 207 again. This time, it was the right one. I swiped my card and opened the door. Everything inside was just as I left it. My red suitcase, my folded clothes, and the teacup by the window. I sat on the bed and covered my face with my hands. Then I started to laugh. It was so embarrassing, but also so funny. I imagined the man telling his friends about the person who walked into his room by mistake. At that moment, I learned something important. It's okay to make mistakes. Sometimes they can turn into stories we laugh about later, and this one I would remember forever. The next morning, I went downstairs to have breakfast at the hotel. I was feeling much better after a good night's sleep. As I walked into the lobby, I saw a familiar face. It was the man from the night before, the one whose room I had entered by mistake. He saw me and smiled. "Hey, room 207," he said with a laugh. I smiled back. "Hi. Thanks for not calling security on me," I said, also laughing. We both laughed for a moment. It felt good to smile about it. A mistake that made me feel so embarrassed yesterday was now just a funny memory. That small moment of kindness and understanding helped me feel more confident. I no longer felt nervous or ashamed. I felt lighter. As I sat down to eat my breakfast, I started thinking about what had happened. I asked myself, what did I learn from this experience? I realized something important. Mistakes can feel bad at first, but they can also teach us something. They can help us grow. We all make mistakes. It is a part of life, and when we learn to laugh at them, they become easier to handle. I thought about how this is also true when learning English. Sometimes I say the wrong word. Sometimes I don't understand what someone says. Sometimes I forget what I wanted to say in the middle of a sentence. In the past, I would feel embarrassed. I would want to stop talking. I would stay quiet because I was afraid to make a mistake. But now I see it differently. Just like I made a mistake with the hotel room, I can also make small mistakes in English. And that's okay. In fact, it's normal. No one speaks perfectly all the time. Even native speakers make mistakes. What matters is how we react to those mistakes. Instead of feeling bad, we can choose to smile, to learn, and to keep going. Every time we make a mistake and try again, we are getting better. We are learning. I decided to turn my hotel story into a lesson for my English journey. I told myself, if I can walk into the wrong room and survive that, I can survive using the wrong word in English. I can speak. I can learn. Later that day, I opened my notebook and wrote a short journal entry about what happened. I wrote about how I felt what I learned and what I would do differently next time. Writing helped me understand my emotions. It also helped me practice my English. If you are learning English too, I suggest you try this. After you experience something funny, new, or even uncomfortable, write a few sentences about it. You can use simple words. Don't worry about being perfect. The goal is to express your thoughts and grow your confidence. Let me also share a few useful phrases that you can practice from my story. You can repeat them out loud to improve your pronunciation and rhythm. I think I'm in the wrong room. I'm so as a person. Don't worry about it. Mistakes happen. Next time, I'll check more carefully. These are short and helpful phrases. You can use them in many situations, not only in hotels, but in daily life. Try saying them slowly, then say them again with more feeling. The more you repeat them, the more natural they will sound when you speak. Learning English is not only about grammar and vocabulary, it's also about using the language in real life. It's about communicating, connecting with others, and building confidence. Every time you practice, you take one step forward. Even small steps matter. And remember this, you are not alone. Everyone who learns a new language feels afraid sometimes. Everyone makes mistakes. But if you keep going, keep smiling, and keep learning, you will improve more than you think. I will always remember my London trip, not just for the big buildings or famous places, but for that small, funny moment that taught me something big. Now, when I check into a hotel, I always double check the floor and the room number. But more importantly, I always remind myself that mistakes are not the end. They are just the beginning of learning something new. So be proud of your mistakes. Laugh about them, learn from them, and keep speaking. You are doing great. Now you've heard the full story of my first trip to London. From the moment I arrived at the airport to the funny mistake I made with my hotel room, every part of this trip taught me something special. I came to London with excitement and curiosity. I wanted to see the city, explore new places, and enjoy something different. But what I remember the most is not Big Ben or the London Eye. What I remember most is the moment I opened the door to the wrong hotel room and saw a surprised man holding a towel. What was the moment that made me laugh, learn, and grow? At first, I was embarrassed. I wanted to run away and hide. But later, I realized that this small mistake was not the end of the world. In fact, it became a story that I still tell today. It made my trip even more special. Why? Because it reminded me that making mistakes is okay. This story teaches us a powerful lesson. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. Whether you are learning a new city or learning a new language, it's normal to feel unsure sometimes. What matters most is that you keep going. You can take this lesson and use it in your own life. If you're learning English and you say something wrong, it's okay. If someone doesn't understand you the first time, try again. The more you speak, the more you grow. Just like I made a mistake with my hotel room, you might make mistakes in English. But one day you'll laugh about it and learn from it too. If you listen to this whole story, congratulations. You've just improved your English listening and understanding skills. That's something to be proud of. Every time you listen to a story like this, your English becomes stronger and your confidence grows. Now let's have a little fun. Here's a quick question for you. What was the number of the hotel room that the storyteller went into by mistake? A room 207 on the second floor. B room 208 on the third floor. Comment your answer below with A or B. I'll be checking the comments. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to the channel so we can keep making more helpful and fun English lessons. And if you'd like to support us, consider sending a small donation to help us continue. In the beginning, it's not easy to make high-quality content, especially when we're offering it for free to help you learn. Thank you so much for being here. Keep learning, keep smiling, and we'll see you in the next story.